Well, I was born in University Park, and I'm soon to be 86 years old, and I've lived on McFarland Boulevard substantially all my life.
My family first moved to the 3400 block of Bryn Mawr in 1936 when I was 3 years old. We were the furthest north house, and I could sit on the back porch and watch Northwest Highway traffic.
Yeah, I'm Bob Livingston. I was city manager in University Park from 1991 to 2014, about 24 years, 23 years. Grew up in southeast Kansas, attended the University of Kansas on a swimming scholarship, completed my undergraduate work there, was immediately drafted by the Army, spent 2 years in the Army, first in San Francisco and then about a year in Vietnam as a computer programmer. I was lucky.
My name's Dick Davis. I am a lifelong resident of University Park. I was raised at 3412 Amherst, some half a block from the University Park grade school. My father was employed by the government as in the Internal Revenue. My mother was a housewife. I had an older brother that has died, Sam Davis, younger brother, Jack Davis, still living and a lifelong resident of University Park.
I grew up here, and I had great friends. Most of them were friends for life. Most of them now have passed on. And anyway, I was totally a University Park person. And when I say this, I believe it. University Park is the finest place anywhere to live and raise a family. And I've been all over the world. My wife and I have traveled many places, but there's nothing like University Park. You have the churches, you have the schools, you have SMU, now Presidential Library. You've got everything right here you want. Of course, most of it's in Dallas if it's shopping or eating in restaurants, but we have a very fine place to live, and I just took advantage of it all. I was here the whole time, you know.
In the 1960s, I made a deliberate decision to stay in University Park to raise my children in this city and have them go through the Highland Park Independent School District. I was employed by IBM and had been offered a transfer and decided that that was not what I wanted to do. So I made a deliberate decision to stay in this community that I had lived in since 1936.
Attended University Park grade school, the junior high and the high school. Graduated in 1953 in January. Started SMU immediately after that, and went to undergraduate school, received a business degree, and then went to the Dedman School of Law and graduated after 3.5 years.
Well, I think, the first thing that I always remember is that when I was interviewing for the job, I'll never forget, I was working in California and the phone rang one afternoon, and it was Leland, who was the manager here at that time. And he was going through the process of that I was going to be invited for an interview, and I'll never forget, Leland told me, he says, "This is the best job you will ever have." And I must have repeated that usually I would meet with new employees because, we only had about 250 employees, so you'd meet them all when they came to work and get to know them. And I tried to tell every one of them that this would be the best place they would ever work in their lives, which was shown by low turnover rates. People came here and stayed 20, 30, 40 years routinely.
The high school that I went to was just a wonderful place, or the Highland Park Independent School District was a wonderful school district. And so later when I was with the UIL, foundation board in Austin, everybody looked up to Highland Park as maybe the finest. Everybody wanted to be like Highland Park, and there was very few that could even come close to the reputation we had in our school district. And it was, you know, a great place to graduate from. Played 3 sports there. I played football, baseball, golf. Had great teachers. I know them all, still know them all, you know their names and what they tried to teach me. A great education I got.
Well, I went to Highland Park High School, and then walked up to SMU and enrolled there. And after 4 years, I hadn't decided what I wanted to be when I grew up. So I took the easy way out and went to graduate school. So I got an MBA from Stanford University in 1957. I came back to Dallas. I'd actually had an offer to go to work in San Francisco. But I decided that I really wanted to get back to the Dallas area and University Park area. And so I turned that offer down and came back and was hired by IBM in data processing sales, and I spent 11 years with IBM.
Lifelong, literally lifelong friendships from grade school on, and particularly so from high school on to college and up to this point in time. So my earliest memories when I was able to get out and about are riding my bicycle to school every day, and then in the summertime I would go to, when I was released from home, I would go to the University Park swimming pool, which is now the Holmes Aquatic Center. And Blackie Holmes was my friend from first grade and was also a mayor of University Park.
Would you be willing to live in the community? And of course, we had a little advantage coming from California. Housing prices were pretty comparable. And so I said, sure, that was the reason we wanted to move here, was to get our kids in the schools and, you know, be able to live in the community. We weren't interested really in living outside of the community.
We are, in my judgment, the finest place, I said, anywhere in the world to live and raise a family. And it's just a community that's had great governance and great schools and great churches and a university and you know, you got it all here. So that's about as good as you can have for a community.
My family joined Highland Park Methodist Church. The Reverend Tom Shipp was there and as an assistant pastor, and he was my basketball and softball coach for the church. And he ended up marrying us when I got married. We asked Dr. Shipp to marry Sally and me in Perkins Chapel on the SMU campus.
To make it as good a place as it can be and as fine as it can be. It had a dramatic influence on literally the whole citizenry, but among other influences, because of that interest in education, it had a profound effect upon the kids coming out of Highland Park High School. That there was really not much question that you were going on to college.
I think, you know, again, the city has a long, stable heritage of managers and council members, and I think, you know, you need to keep that in mind when you're considering what you want to do, where you want the city to go, how you want it to improve, and just remember the history to a good extent, but be adaptable to the future and what's happening. And I think, you know, again, we've been very lucky here. There hasn't been a council member that I deal with in 24 years or whatever that really that wasn't what they wanted. It was, you know, they wanted to make the community better.
The next 10, 15 years is going to be a real challenge because basically the city, most of the infrastructure was started in 100 years ago. We have a program of replacing water and sewer at a mile a year, and that program has gone on for some time, but there's 80 miles of water and sewer line.
I think that it's great to keep what we're doing for the Centennial, which is bringing back a lot of history and maybe commemorating the first 100 years to the point to where some people will get all of the ideas that we've had to make the city great.